Let's try chapter 2, Robinson Crusoe. This time I will go a little faster, and you can tell me whether it's a good idea or not. Turn down the brightness of my phone. The next day there was a great storm. Was there a great storm? Yes, there was. The next day there was a great storm, like a big storm, a strong storm, a powerful storm. I was scared, and this time I could see that the other sailors were also very scared. So I was scared, and the other sailors were scared. Who else was scared? The other sailors. This time I could see that the other sailors were also very scared. The captain was walking in and out of his cabin. Who was walking in and out of his cabin? The captain. The captain was walking in and out of his cabin. What's a cabin? Like a room where the captain, well, a room on a ship is a cabin, right? Or sometimes a house up in the mountains is a cabin. So the captain was walking in and out of his cabin. He was quietly saying prayers. What was he quietly saying? Prayers it means he was praying. The captain was quietly praying. He was quietly saying prayers. I was so scared. I was so scared I could only lie in my bed and hope we would survive. He could only do what? Lay in his bed. I was so scared I could only lie in my bed. Lie, lay. Same thing. I was so scared I could only lie in my bed and hope we would survive. Right? Hope we would stay alive. Hope we would live through the storm. Right? I was so scared I could only lie in my bed and hope we would survive. When I looked out of the window of my cabin, I saw the waves. What did he see outside of his window? He saw the waves. When I looked out of the window of my cabin, I saw the waves. They were as tall as mountains. How tall? As mountains. They were as tall as mountains. I saw other ships which looked like toys. What does he mean? What does he mean looked like toys? How can the ships look like toys? I suppose they were so far away, or they were being thrown around on the waves, right? They were being tossed by the waves. They looked like toys. Ships are big, but they looked small, like toys. I saw the other ships which looked like toys. The waves were playing with them. The waves were throwing the ships around like toys. One sailor shouted that a ship went underwater in front of us. So a ship sunk in front of them. Right? Immediately before their eyes, in front of them, they saw a ship sink. One sailor shouted that a ship went under the water, went under the waves. The ship sunk in front of us. Right? We saw it. It was before us. I was terribly afraid. I was very afraid. I was terribly afraid, and I regretted that I didn't go home after the first light storm. I was terribly afraid, and I regretted that I didn't go home after the first light storm. So yesterday, I think, there was a light storm, a little storm, a small storm, and he regretted that he didn't go home. So he wished that he had made the decision to go home at that time. But he stayed on the ship, and now he regretted that he didn't go home after the first light storm. The storm was getting worse, and now all the sailors were praying we would survive. Who was praying that we would survive? All the sailors were praying that we would survive. The storm was getting worse, becoming stronger. And now all of the sailors were praying that we would survive. So everyone was scared on the ship. Suddenly, someone shouted that there was a hole in the ship and water was coming inside the ship. Who shouted? Someone. Someone shouted. What did they shout? Someone shouted that there was a hole in the ship. And what was happening? They shouted that there was a hole in the ship and water was coming inside the ship. Suddenly, someone shouted that there was a hole in the ship and water was coming inside. Everyone was called down to pump out the water, to pump the water out. Who was called down? Everyone. What do we mean called down? Called down to the bottom of the ship, right? Someone said, hey, everyone, come down to the bottom of the ship and help pump out the water. Pump. I don't think they had pumps back in 1720 when they wrote this book. 1700s, I think this book was written. Maybe not pump, right? Everyone was called down to bail out the water. As to znači bail? Это когда ты используешь bucket. Huh? When you use a bucket to pick up the water, to scoop up the water, you use a bucket and then throw the water out. This is bail out the water. So everyone was called down to pump the water out, but probably they mean bail the water out. I was paralyzed with fear, and I couldn't get out of my bed. I was paralyzed with fear. I couldn't move, right? I was paralyzed. I couldn't move with fear. I was so scared that I was paralyzed. I was so scared I couldn't move. I was paralyzed with fear, and I couldn't get out of my bed. Could I get out of my bed? No, I couldn't get out of my bed. And why not? Because I was paralyzed. I was paralyzed with fear, and I couldn't get out of my bed. Then one man came to me and told me to go down and help. Who came to me? One man, a man. Then one man came to me and told me to go down and help. What did he tell me? What did he tell me to do? He told me to go down and help pump out the water, help bail out the water. Go down to the bottom of the ship and help bail out the water. So I went. I was pumping out the water when the captain ordered someone to fire a gun. What was I doing when the captain ordered someone to fire a gun? I was pumping out the water. I was pumping out the water when the captain ordered someone to fire a gun. What did the captain do? The captain ordered someone to fire a gun. I was pumping out the water when the captain ordered someone to fire a gun. He told someone to fire a gun. Like a signal gun, a flare gun probably. The captain ordered someone to fire a flare gun, I guess. It was a signal that we were in danger. No, yes. The gun was a signal that we were in danger to someone. It was a signal that what? Or of what? It was a signal that we were in danger. That I thought we were sinking. I thought we were sinking because the ship was full of water. What did he think? What was he thinking? He was thinking that we were sinking. He was thinking we were sinking. I thought we were sinking because the ship was full of water. There was so much water on the ship, he thought the ship was sinking. I thought we were all going to die. Who was going to die? All. He thought we were all going to die. We were all working very hard, but the water kept coming into the ship. What did the water keep doing? The water kept coming and coming into the ship. We were all working very hard, right, to bail out the water, to pump out the water, but the water kept coming into the ship. The storm wasn't as dangerous anymore, but the ship was already badly damaged. Was the storm as dangerous as before? No, the storm was not as dangerous as before. The storm wasn't as dangerous anymore. But the ship was already badly damaged from earlier, right? Earlier, the storm was strong. What was the storm earlier? What did they say? The storm, it was a great storm, they said. The ship was already badly damaged because there was a great storm. So now the storm wasn't as dangerous anymore, but the ship was already badly damaged. Our captain continued firing guns for help, right? He kept shooting flares into the sky, shooting flare guns, firing flare guns. Our captain continued firing guns, flare guns, for help. There was a small ship in front of us. What do you think? Did they have flare guns in 17 something or other? Maybe not. There was a small ship in front of us which sent us a boat. Was there a small ship in front of us? Yes, there was a small ship in front of us. And what did that ship do? That ship that was in front of us, what did the ship do? The ship sent us a boat, a small boat, right? They sent them to rescue them, I suppose. They sent them a rescue boat. There was a small ship in front of us which sent us a boat. The sailors on that boat risked their lives but managed to reach our ship. Was it dangerous for them on that boat? Yes, it was dangerous for them on that boat, and they risked their lives. But they managed to reach our ship. They managed to come aboard. With great difficulty, we all boarded that boat. Who got on that boat? Who got on that little boat that was sent by the other ship? Who got on it? Everyone. Everyone got on it. It was difficult, but everyone got on that little boat. With great difficulty, we all boarded the boat. We all got on that little tiny boat. We couldn't think of going back to their ship, which was already very far. Why not? It was too dangerous, I see. Why could they not go back to their ship from where the boat came? The boat came from their ship. Everyone got on the boat. Why could the boat not go back to their ship? He says, we couldn't think of going back to their ship, which was already very far. So they couldn't go back to that ship because it was too far away. The storm was rough and the ships, I don't know, maybe they couldn't control them very well, and now the ship was too far away from them. And so they couldn't go back to that ship. It was too far away and it was too dangerous. So we decided to get to the coast instead. Where did they decide to go in the little boat? They decided to go to the coast. They decided to get to the coast instead, the beach, the shore, right? They decided to go onshore. So we decided to get to the coast instead. Instead of going back to that ship, they decided to go ashore. 15 minutes later, our ship went under. How much later, how much time after they got on board the little boat did their ship sink? 15 minutes. 15 minutes later, our ship went under, our ship sunk. Right? 15 minutes after they got on the boat, their ship went under. We were safe on the boat, but I was still very afraid. Were they in danger on the boat? No, they weren't in danger on the boat. They were safe on the boat. They were safe on the boat. We were safe on the boat, but I was still very afraid. Was he scared? Yes. He was safe on the boat, but he was still very scared. He was still very afraid. We were soon close to the land, and we could see many people on the beach. How long did it take them to get to the land, to the beach? Not long, because they were soon close to the land. We were soon close to the land, and we could see many people on the beach. How many people? We don't know. Just many people. They could see many people on the beach. They were waiting for us. When we finally reached the land, the people were very nice to us. Were they, the people on the beach, were they hospitable? Were they welcoming? Yes, they were welcoming, they were hospitable. When we finally reached the land, the people were very nice to us. They helped us find rooms and gave us money to get to London or go back to Hull. They helped us find rooms. What does he mean, they helped us find rooms? They helped us get accommodation, right? They gave us somewhere to sleep, somewhere to stay. They helped us find rooms. And they gave us money to get to London. So they gave them some money so they could buy a ticket back to London on a ship, right? They gave us money to get back to London or go back to Hull. Hull, what's Hull? I guess Hull is a city in England, I don't know, like London. So they gave them some money so they could buy a ticket to go back on a ship to either London or to Hull. And he decided to go to London. I decided to go to London, it says. I travelled to London by land. So not on a ship, but by land. So he didn't go back on a boat, back on a ship, probably because he was scared. He travelled to London by land, so by bus, or by train, or by horse and cart, I don't know. He travelled to London by land. By car? They didn't have cars back then. Maybe he walked. I travelled to London by land. The whole way I was thinking what to do and where to go. What was he doing on the trip to London? He was thinking. What was he thinking about? He was thinking about what he should do, what to do, and where should he go, where to go. The whole way I was thinking what to do and where to go. I was too ashamed of myself to go back home. Why did he not go back home? Because he was too ashamed. I suppose he didn't want to face his parents. He didn't want to talk to his parents because his parents told him, don't go, it will be dangerous. And in fact, it was dangerous. And his ship had sunk. And so he was too ashamed of himself to go back home and face his parents. I was too ashamed of myself to go back home. In London, I met the captain of another ship who often travelled to the coast of Africa. He offered me to travel with him. So who did he meet in London? In London, he met the captain of another ship. In London, I met the captain of another ship. And what did this captain do? This captain and his ship often travelled to the coast of Africa. In London, I met the captain of another ship who often travelled to the coast of Africa. He offered me to travel with him. It's a bit strange in English. He offered me to travel with him. He offered me the opportunity to travel with him. He offered to me that I might travel with him. Anyway, he offered me to travel with him. He suggested to me that I should travel with him. Right? He made me an offer to let me travel with him on his ship to Africa. He offered me to travel with him. Before we left London, he advised me what to buy for trade in Africa. What did the captain do before they left London? He advised Robinson Crusoe, he advised him what to buy for trade in Africa. It's not much a trade in Africa. I suppose they didn't use money, right? The money was no good, so they needed goods, products. They needed products for trading, for swapping, for other things, for food, for more food, for what else do you buy in Africa? For accommodation, maybe, for somewhere to stay. So the captain advised him what to buy for trade in Africa before they left London. At that time, I had only £40. How much money did he have at that time? Only £40. This journey was successful because I returned to England with some gold, which was worth almost £300. Was his journey to Africa successful? Yes, it was. It was successful. Why? Because in the end, he returned to England and he had some gold, and the gold was worth almost £300, so a lot more than the £40 that he started with. This journey was successful because I returned to England with some gold, which was worth almost £300. The journey was also good for me because the captain taught me something about mathematics and navigation. Were there other reasons that the journey was successful, that the journey was good? Yes, there was. What were the other reasons? Well, they were because that captain taught him something. He taught him about mathematics and navigation. So the journey was successful. It was successful because he started with £40 and he ended with £300. No, he ended with gold, which was worth almost £300. And the captain taught him something about mathematics and something about navigation. I learned what was necessary to become a sailor and a businessman. What did he learn on the journey? He learnt about becoming a sailor and a businessman. I learned what was necessary to become a sailor and a businessman. Soon after we came back to England, the captain died. When did the captain die of that boat, of that ship? The captain died soon after they came back to England. I decided to make the same journey to Africa with the same ship, but another captain. Where did he decide to go? Back to Africa. He decided to make the same journey back to Africa. So the same trip, on the same ship. But of course, another captain, because the captain from the previous journey had died. He died as soon as they got back to England. The journey started well. Well, hang on. Why do you think? Why did he go back to Africa? Probably because the previous journey was successful. He had gold worth £300 and he learned something about mathematics and navigation. And so he decided to make that same journey again, back to Africa with the same ship, but another captain. This journey started well, but soon we had big problems. So soon after starting that journey, some problems arose, some big problems. A ship started chasing us. Oh, what started chasing them, following them, pursuing them? A ship started chasing them. It was a pirate ship, a ship manned by pirates, crewed, staffed, what do we say? Manned, I don't know. A pirate ship, a ship full of pirates. It continued the whole day, all day long. The whole day, that ship was chasing them, following them, trying to catch them. The pirates were trying to capture their ship. At about 3 p.m, the pirates came very close. When did the pirates manage to come so close to their ship? At about 3 p.m. There was an attack, but we managed to push them away. So the pirates attacked them. They attacked their ship and they tried to capture them. There was an attack, but we managed to push them away. Did they manage to repel the attack? Yes, they did. They managed to repel the attack. They managed to push them away. On the second attempt, many of their men came on the ship and they started destroying everything. On the second attempt, on the second try. So there was another attack, a second attack. The pirate ship attacked them again for a second time. There was a second attempt and many of their men came on the ship. So the pirates managed to board their ship. The pirates managed to come aboard their ship and attack them. And they started destroying everything. They started breaking everything, smashing everything. They started destroying everything on their ship. Some of our sailors were killed and some were injured. Who was killed? Sailors. Our sailors. Some of our sailors. Some of our sailors were killed and some were injured. And so we had to give up. What does he mean, give up? We had to surrender, I suppose. We had to turn ourselves into the pirates. We had to surrender to the pirates. We had to give up to the pirates. And all of us were taken prisoners. That means we were taken as prisoners. They arrested us. They put us in prison, in jail. The pirates took the crew, the sailors, as prisoners. All of us were taken prisoners. That was chapter 2. I hope it was good. I hope it works.